So right now it looks pretty good. I do professionally, personally, which is a new statement I've been making. Hope that they do, bring back that position that they've suggested in HR, because probably half of our day, the three of us, is yelling about HR and contracts and understanding what's going on in payroll. So while our budget seems full, I really hope they make that department's budget full, because it really does. That's the department that impacts us the most. So that's the update. So things look good for us. Hopefully things will look good for the town as well.
Great, fingers crossed. It's all coming up very soon. I would like to say that the staff and the board and everyone that's part of that process did make an excellent effort, put a good foot forward. I think it was very well received from at least the meeting that I was on in front of the Board of Finance. So well done, everyone. I know that, there are a lot of people that are behind that, so we'll have to, see how the vote goes with RTM and move forward. That's great. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Scott. Anything else for old business? Okay, we're going to move on to the library report. Back to you, Scott and Jan.
So, COVID always gets started off first. Multiple staff were out last month. It might have been the most challenging month we had in terms of COVID, but managers were creative in scheduling and we kept all locations open. And thankfully, the town librarian at circulation at Woods did not bring the entire system down, but it was close. But other than that, we've done relatively well. Knock on wood, we have new signage, which corresponds with the new CDC guidance. And we're ready to move forward however that looks. In terms of operations, this is really a big time for outreach, specifically for our children's departments. We've been doing a lot of outreach to elementary schools and preschools. And one thing I wanted to highlight that our children's staff are doing particularly here, which I absolutely love, is they're doing pop-up story times. We're getting a lot of people in this children's room. We're getting a lot of people in the children's room at Woods as well. And because of the amount of people that are coming in the door, it's getting a little rambunctious. So our staff they're doing story times just on the fly, which I think is really, really neat and something that I have yet to see in my career. So it's all really awesome to see this library be forward thinking. In terms of teens, we're volunteer uptick. The teens are really starting to look for volunteer opportunities as we move into the summer. And teen staff are also helping prep board games. We're going to be piloting circulating board games at the Woods branch, and hopes to be circulating board games at both locations within the next 6 months, which is really neat. Something that Jen Lesserman went to a CE on. She's our teen librarian, and other libraries are doing this. It's part of kind of the library of things. And it seems to be very, very popular, and I think it'll be very popular here in Fairfield. Adult services, we ended tax season. Over 12 weeks, we had 490 people come through our doors and have their taxes prepared, and that was really, really incredible. Some other programs to highlight. We did a talk on the Holocaust to coincide with the memorial. That went very, very well. We did some backyard composting at Woods. That was also very popular. And then we had an offer event with Jane Green in partnership with the Fairfield University bookstore, and that went very, very well. It was very popular in the library that day. Was busy. Circulation, the passport to CT libraries was extremely popular. What was the final Woods number?
400 plus we gave.
Yeah, 400 plus.
That was just at Woods.
So it was just extremely popular. We only got to 7. We had 7 libraries. We're aiming for 10. It didn't happen. But that was very popular, and it was great because it was really promoted by all the staff, and I loved that. Operations, we now are making our writers groups kind of sign a community guidelines form to kind of keep them, remind them that they are working with the library. And we're hoping that this will help facilitate a healthier relationship. We also hired a new circulation aide and a library technical assistant in cataloging, or we call it technical services here, which is good. That means material will be getting out faster. And then we had 6 Q alerts, which included a roof leak in the administrative offices, but also vandalism here, sadly timed the same weekend as mini golf. So you didn't notice it because we were so on top of it, and DPW
Yeah,
got on
I was-
it so quick.
Didn't think it was.
There's been vandalism all
It's the
over
same-
the
it's-
place here.
yeah.
It's like the town is, a friend just sent me a couple more
Schools
pictures of
too,
like,
in
yeah.
schools too.
I can,
Yeah,
you know,
the Stratfield section, it's really bad.
and I can tell you that the quicker you clean it, the less attractive it becomes to the vandals. So I'm glad DPW and the police were on top of it so quickly. It was gone by Monday.
Was it graffiti?
I wouldn't call it graffiti, because graffiti can be categorized as art. This was
Okay,
not.
well,
This was some,
gross.
this was,
Paint can.
this was some, messaging about life,
Okay,
and then some phallic,
Oh, yes.
presentation.
Yes.
inappropriate.
It was inappropriate.
Can we go back to the writers group thing? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
So, this library's had a long, oh, she's got pictures.
A friend just sent me 3 photos from downtown,
Drink and drive.
and the Daddy's Trust Fund one
Yes.
that's everywhere.
Yes.
Someone.
A lot of commentary just about
Yeah.
the town. So we have always had a long tradition of writers groups meeting in the library. They were, they had liaisons in the beginning, and then things got a little looser. And then when COVID came and things shut down, there was really kind of a nervousness amongst the staff about these groups coming back in the library, because sometimes they would go a little bit to their own beat. So we sat down, we walked through some of the issues that would come up, and I'd say, this is something that's been solved at other libraries, and it's as simple as, you're going to do a program for us. It's a library program, so you just have to agree to X, Y, Z. Not harassing staff to get in early, not staying past closing, not having, basically setting expectations. And this seems, knock on plastic, for right now to be helping. I don't know if it's solved the issues completely, but it definitely seemed to be helping and relieved some stress of the staff.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
And then future, I hand over to Jan.
So we have a lot going on in May. Of various different kinds of programs, music programs, film series. We have the Jillian Salentano, with trans awareness person, that's coming back to do that program again. We're partnering for an 8-part series on coping with changes due to COVID. A teen librarian is getting out there, meeting all over the place, and getting ready for summer. Going to the schools, is it 5th grade she goes to, or 6th grade? 5th grade, to get next year's 6th graders to come. The Friends also have an extremely busy, well, they have 3 major events going on in 5 days. The Ladies Literary Lunch on Wednesday, May 18th, and we possibly support that. It's Jennifer Weiner's the author, talking about her new book. Their book sale is running the 20th through the 22nd, and they have a Sound Waves concert on the 22nd as well. The 22nd will be our last Sunday open for the season. We have a bunch of staff going to the Connecticut Library Association conference tomorrow and the next day. So we've got 7 people. And we are going to that, and people haven't been out for a while, so. And the New England Library Association conference, we just found out today that the children's staff was, I didn't get a chance to tell you what Tamara did. They were hoping to present, and they've been accepted to present.
That's awesome. What's it on, January? They're gonna present it.
It's on the actually, oh no, my sticker's gone. It's a young, I lost the word. Young business people, young
Oh,
Entrepreneurs.
entrepreneurs, thank you, young entrepreneurs
It's awesome.
program, which was amazing, is amazing. And if you were at mini golf, they were selling stickers there. So they've created some swag for the library. But they're also using the maker space equipment to basically start their own businesses there. They're all like this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Third to fifth
Great,
grade.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
New England Library Association's, just, you may have seen this, contact, they're putting on, NELS, New England
Oh,
Library
yeah.
Leadership Symposium. I did 1 and 2, and it's mostly public libraries. Highly recommend it if you can send somebody for people who are interested in, management. Yeah, NELS 1, yeah, it's really good. You've gotten a lot of promotion. I have seen the 8-part series in a lot of different places, just so you know. That's been like in, I guess my kids.
Well,
my-
other people are
Emails.
promoting as.
They're
well as
promoting,
us.
that's what I'm saying. It's like
Fairfield
being
Council
cross
Center
promoted.
and Life Bridge.
Yeah, that's it looks like a wonderful series.
What are we doing with the Dogwood Festival?
Oh, I'll be there.
We are going, we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be
Awesome.
there.
Do we have like a
It's my
booth?
shirt.
Yeah, we have a booth. We're only doing Saturday. We couldn't staff Sunday because,
Yeah, is it Sunday?
yeah.
And we were at the rodeo, bike rodeo this past weekend, and we were at the Y for their Earth Day.
That's
as
awesome.
well.
That's great.
We're getting out there.
Busy
That's really
spring.
good.
That's great.
Good to be out there like that.
Jen, where are those conferences? Are they in Hartford or?
The Connecticut conference is in Hartford, the New England is in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay.
In the fall, it's not until
Great.
fall.
In June, DC, when you're.
Oh, that's great.
So I have to say,
Thank you, Jen.
everything.
Thank you, Scott. Anything else on the library report?
Busy spring.
Busy. April
It's exciting.
was very busy. Good way to describe it.
A lot of great things happening at the library. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. All right, we'll move over to Andrew for space planning.
Still kind of on hold for the next delivery, which Jan, is there an update on timing?
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I didn't expect anything, otherwise
Still on.
I would have heard from you.
Still on.
But yeah, we're still on track for later this month or early June. So the one thing, Jan, I was speaking with Chris earlier today. I want to confirm with you some of the costs for this latest tranche, what we'll need to be paying out. So after this meeting, I'll send you an email, we can coordinate that,
Okay,
get the number to Chris in the next week or so.
okay.
Other than that, once we get the furniture stuff done, we can start to look at what the next phase might be.
Great. Everything seems to be on track. Thank you, Andrew.
Yep.
Staff, I wanted to ask you about like the current furniture. How has that been received? There's now more traffic in the library. We know the meeting rooms are, a hit, but the other furniture, how has that been received so far? Staff and patrons.
I think you got a lot of feedback of Woods, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, people really like it.
Yeah,
Because it's
great.
nicely color coordinated now. When you come in, it's just eye catching.
Yeah.
Great.
I think because ours isn't complete, like people are still moving pieces of it around to
Sure.
try to make things fit, but, once we get everything in, I think that'll enhance that.
Sure.
There's definitely more people spending more time. I was in the periodicals room today because we have a conversation going and almost every seat. was
May I
taken.
have your attention, please? The library.
A lot
will
of
be
newspaper
closed
leaders
for
looking
30
for
minutes.
quiet
If you
space.
need a library card or special assistance.
Well, it's for public service.
That works quite well.
Just a reminder, the Wi-Fi will shut down at 7:45.
Is the Wi-Fi going to affect our WebEx here?
No.
I would hope Jan put us on the staff.
That's for those that are standing outside the door like, yeah, Wi-Fi.
I don't think so, huh?
I think
Um,
I'll make it till
No.
That is
Yeah,
exactly-
You're not on that, you're not
Wait,
on
are you sharing right now? Are you presenting?
Yeah.
that. What Wi-Fi?
You're connected to,
The WebEx.
no.
Oh, what
which
Wi-Fi
Wi-Fi?
are you connected to?
Oh, good question. I'll tell you.
Cause if it's the,
I'm on library Wi-Fi. Is that the one that's going to be shut down?
You want to be Fairfield staff.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a logout for that.
Sure.
He's never been bumped off before.
Have
You
we,
ever
is
hear it?
that a new change we're doing?
No, we've always done.
I've always used just library Wi-Fi.
Well, let's see what
We'll
happens.
see what happens.
Let's get this meeting going.
All right, on to the next. Okay.
We're halfway through, so.
I did have a question on the study rooms, Scott and Jan and Nancy. How is the traffic going there? Is it popular,
I
up
think,
20%? Like, what's it
I
looking?
think they said last month it was 400 reservations.
Wow.
Which was the highest. I was down in reference due to other issues. And I would say the 5 people who came to the reference desk at all had to do with study reviews.
Okay,
So it's very, after school, it's booked.
yeah,
And,
Weekends.
yeah, so
We've
it's,
had a couple times where they were all filled.
wow, that's great.
so we're definitely maxing out. And there are still people who are just discovering them,
Yeah.
so.
Fantastic.
Did the booking online get updated, you know, when it first opened, you know, the blocks of time?
Didn't we
I think
discover
they
that
fixed
got
that.
fixed? Yeah.
If you wanted to change it, like if you erroneously like clicked like 2 PM and you wanted to adjust it, it would, like when it first started, you couldn't adjust it. You'd have to log out and then log back in.
Yeah, I swear that when I did a booking the other day, that
You might not be able to get the same room at a different time, because it does, when someone's working on a reservation, it holds it until it's completed.
Right.
But changing it, I don't know.
Okay.
Then
You
we
just
have to
change
cancel
the
it
time.
and then go back in again.
yeah, I think you have to, but I think that was the issue. You couldn't cancel it.
I'll try, I'll be happy to try it again because my wife is looking for any excuse to get me out of the house. I've been working at home for too many years. So I will try it out soon and I'll report back.
I think some problem with.
David's gonna walk down to my house. Hey,
I know, we live close by. Hey, can I reserve a kitchen for a few hours?
I got a nice thing for you over here at the desk.
Tomorrow already has 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
You did.
7, 8.
No, I haven't reserved yet.
Tomorrow already has 9 reservations.
That's terrific. Okay, all right. Well, great update, Andrew, and staff, space planning, all going according to plan. Terrific. Anything else on space planning?
We were just saying, we like the names, by the way. We like the
Yeah.
names of the rooms. We noticed that
Very
with Jan
cool.
today, how they had different authors.
Authors.
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
Love
Did
it.
we, is Peter?
All right. Yes, he is. Peter, we're gonna move on to fundraising. Are you still out there, Peter?
I think so. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we do.
Don't see you, that's why we're.
Yeah, you blocked the video.
You
but
don't see me?
You blocked your camera.
Okay. Why don't you see me?
There's something in front of your camera.
That's.
Oh, now it's turned off.
No, nothing's in front of my camera.
Oh,
Uh,
here.
there must
We
be-
can hear you loud and clear.
It's fine.
That's the problem.
There's something wrong. Do you hear me?
Yes,
You can move forward. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm sorry you can't see me. I was wearing a tuxedo too. All right. Well, Scott and I, as just as a continuation of the discussion of fundraising, we really wanted to meet with the friends because we feel, and I said this the last month and the previous month, that it's critical that if we're going to kick off a fundraising program, we really have to do it at least with transparency with the friends and hopefully with cooperation. Uh, they have, as you just heard, have had a lot of events and have events planned for this week. So they have not really been available for us at this point. But Scott is setting up this meeting, and hopefully it'll be soon.
I emailed Danielle today just to try to set something up, so.
I hope we have this meeting before David leaves the board.
Well, you know, Peter, you and I talked earlier this afternoon, and it does sound like they've been busy with some events, and that once we get that meeting started with Scott and Peter and Danielle and the crew at the Friends, then there can be an open discussion, and optimistic that will open up a stronger line of communication. We very much want to, not only work closer with the Friends group, but with Peter's great experience with fundraising and all the organizations he's been involved with, I think could offer some great insight and help us with things like grants and other ways to raise funds, but also it makes a lot of sense to do it in conjunction with the Friends. I think that both organizations can learn from one another and, look forward to and am optimistic to see how this progresses.
Yeah, so that's my report at this point. And hopefully next month, we'll have had our meeting with them and that we can move forward.
That sounds good, Peter. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to the next line item, which is finance and budget report. Scott, and to clarify, are we doing this monthly or are you doing this now quarterly?
So the budget for the town
Yep.
will be done quarterly.
Quarterly?
Because that's when we, the comptroller asked for a report quarterly, so we're gonna, so we make one report to kind of rule them all. So we're gonna report this quarterly. The board's budget or how we spend the board's funds, that will continue to do monthly.
That sounds good. When you mean quarterly, will it be the first month of the quarter
It will
or the
be,
last month of the quarter?
how do they time it in town?
Well, this
My goal
This
is
ends
to do
in
this,
March, but we didn't have to send it until the end of April, so. So you wouldn't report on the end of March at the April meeting, but
Yeah.
at the next, like that,
so it would be the
second
second
month
month
of the
of the
quarter.
quarter.
Okay.
So right now, everything looks good. We have underspent considerably, so the town always wants us to report 10% or $10,000. So, right now, we're a little underspent, especially when it comes to programming, just because programming was slow to start up and now we're at full scale. So we're getting there, and we should be able to spend the majority of that budget line. 54320, which is maintenance, repair of buildings and grounds. We're a little underspent in that budget. However, we are gonna get the windows done, which they're in desperate need of being done. We have some door repairs that we've encumbered, some PA system enhancements actually around the new study rooms. One issue we had was with the soundproofing in the study rooms, those announcements weren't coming through. So DPW came over, we bought new speakers, DPW put them up. So for the most part, this budget line is encumbered and just not spent. Then office supplies is always, that's 56110. It's always a lagger. We tend to kind of wait till the end and then resupply. And this also was hurt by Ann leaving and then us needing to onboard the new administrative assistant who, Ann's shoes were very big to fill, but Yuli is doing a fantastic job. And we're also changing some of the systems there. And then library materials, 56180. This should be something the board always knows or is informed and educated on is sometimes it looks like we're underspending and sometimes it looks like we're overspending because we really spend our money based on publishers and the publishing schedules. So right now is summer books to get out on the beach. So a lot of paperbacks, a lot of books being released, re-released as trades. So you'll see an uptick, but most of these books are purchased at it. And so that budget should be in line by the end of the fiscal year. That's it. For the most part, we've underspent again, but it really has to do with the fact that we underspent in staffing because we weren't open full hours. We should be able to spend that next year normally, and we'll be doing a normal review of that. And we're a little underspent on staffing as well because we had some people leave. It took a little bit of time to replace them full-time business.
And this is like old news. I mean, this is a month old at this point, right? We've been really stepping up spending, so there's a lot more encumbered at this time. It's having a meeting on the second, doesn't easy.
Excellent. Well, great update. Thank you very much. I have no other questions. Any questions about budget? Finance, okay?
If I sent a quarterly report, did I send one? Was it in the packet? If it wasn't,
It is,
This is, I throw it away. Oh,
Yeah, there is one,
No, not
there's a
that,
quarterly.
that's what we just talked about now.
Yeah, this is why I was.
Quarterly report has an error that I have not been able to find, and the error goes back to second quarter, so.
One issue was when we signed up for my bank account, the mail was being sent to my house unknowingly to me, so some of them ended up in underneath the seat of a car. So Jan and I have been working for the last 3 months to try to get the address changed.
Oh my gosh.
And then finally, yesterday, I got mail saying that they changed the address. So it's been, in Jan's defense, it's been a little difficult to get the bank statements to align correctly because some of those statements were underneath the passenger seat of something.
And Scott, you let me know about that, so I know that that's, takes a little while to get that done. Thanks for letting us know about that. And along the same lines of that is that as my position sunsets as chair, we're gonna need to, staff and the board is gonna need to remove any of my access to Vanguard and First County, and that's gonna need to be changed to the new chair. And I can outline a lot of that in sort of my exit packet.
Like, these are the things.
Sure.
And then the other thing that I think would be beneficial for us as we're making all these changes is for us to actually set up an online account,
Yes.
not to do banking, not to do, it's in most comptrollers will tell you, you don't want to do banking, online banking. You don't want to pay bills or anything that way. But the reason why we would want an account is so that we can run our statements in a timely manner. I know previous treasurers were uncomfortable with that, but I would suggest at least that amount of access for us so that if for some reason we lose the statement, we can go back and find that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I get the security part of it, but it's modern times. I mean, to still have to wait to get the statement mailed is.
Yeah, sometimes I just need to check and see if something's been
yeah, you need
cashed
to
or
check
not.
that,
And I mean, it could be 45 days before I,
Yeah, not like you're, it's a cake.
It is.
Well, did we have an issue today with finding out of something or was that?
that
on
was
the
town.
Yeah, do we need to get approval or to vote on that? I mean, what do we need to do to make that happen? Is it a worry for the town controller or something?
No, because it's
Treasurer?
it's board money.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a vote, I would suggest next month, maybe have this on the agenda and have something that we have a vote on the board as a discussion about.
That's a good idea. Let's add that to next month's
Next
agenda
month's
and
agenda.
have, a few things to present in terms of, where it is, where it's going, what we need approval on. Then we can also cover up in that same line item is the change in terms of access from, outgoing chair to incoming chair and who has access. Might be good to get just kind of a current inventory of that.
Sure.
Okay? Great idea. Okay, so we are going to move away from finance and budget to treasurer's report. So Chris Rogers has to be out of town. It has an excused absence. Did send a report to the board. I really like his format with a number of notes. Because of market conditions, obviously with most funds, it's down a little bit right now. The Vanguard guidance is that there is no remix of the portfolio. And there's also no need for any additional drawdown at this moment from any of our funds to fund any capital improvement. So it's pretty much status quo. An excellent report. I think that we're doing well with Vanguard and this report so far. We'll have probably a little bit more detail from Chris at his next report when he's here in person in June.
I like that he talked about the different things that are affecting the market.
Yeah, sure.
Interesting.
Geopolitical.
He does.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's just for those of us who don't follow it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
the price of crude oil has a lot to do with, everything else.
I mean, the market, was it yet that, it's just open, what was it, Friday?
Yeah, it's been a struggle.
Oh, it's been struggling, yeah.
What does he mean when he says upcoming drawdown 98,000 and then we have 18,000 remaining on the previous drawdown? What does that mean?
I think that 98 was,
Lost you. Hello? David, we lost you. Sure. David?
I wonder if it went off the Wi-Fi.
Hello?
The Wi-Fi went off at the library at 7:45, so I wonder if that's why we lost contact.
You're talking for all of us or just for me?
I think me and you, because we're the only ones on the phone.
Oh,
I think
okay.
everyone else.
Yeah, I don't have them and I don't have any video.
Yeah, I just called in from my phone, so I didn't have video either. I don't know if they can realize that we're not on there and switch over the Wi-Fi.
I'm going to try and hook in again, if
Okay.
possible. Well, does anybody, am I in again in the meeting?
It's just me again, I guess.
I guess
the
we have a real,
Wi-Fi.
I guess we have a real problem.
Yeah. I don't even have Christina's cell phone number. Do you, by any chance?
No, I don't. I think I have David's, but I'd have to
Maybe
look at,
can you text tell us that we got cut off?
yeah, I need to go and get my cell phone, be able to call David. I'll be right back.
Okay.
You know, the problem is we're not in the meeting. They'll be voting us as chair and treasurer next while we're gone.
Not me. I'm just the scribe. Maybe you though.
Hold on.
Never noticed that.
Peter, can you hear us now?
I can.
Hi, Lori. Sorry about that, folks. We had a bit of an issue with the Wi-Fi. It cut out.
Yeah, I figured at 7:45 it seemed like it just went right off.
Make sure the announcements are 1 minute.
Wow.
Peter, can you hear us?
He was going to get his cell phone to try to call you because he tried to re-enter and he couldn't get in.
I've got his number.
So what are you on now, David? The same thing? Like,
No, I'm just tethered to my phone here. I've got a mobile hotspot. Oh, here it comes. Hey, Peter.
Hi.
Hey, how are you? Sorry about that Wi-Fi issue.
Oh, okay.
We're back online.
All
Okay.
right.
What are you thinking?
Yeah.
We're live.
This wasn't even
This wasn't a thing.
at my other library,
It's
it
the
was.
worst.
We would do, yeah, we did YouTube live
Oh,
board meetings for
Oh, wow.
6 years.
Wow.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
well, how big was your board?
7. But it was just for the public and for us to scour after a board meeting.
Okay, I wanted to get back to our agenda here for Friends of the Library update. We do not have a representative from the Friends. Jan or Scott or Nancy, or is there any update that you wanted to add? I know that
Well,
the meeting
last-
for the Friends is next week.
Yeah, it's the 16th or 15th, when I'm on vacation, the 18th, I think. No, 17th, I don't know, but the last meeting for April was canceled, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
today, other than
All right.
those events.
The mini golf was amazing.
It was great.
That's
cool.
great.
Yeah.
The author event, the couple days after the was really good. And then just one note, I put it in stats. And this is probably low, the art gallery gets about 25 visits a day. And, you know, that was 411 visits, and that wasn't the full length of the show, but Jim has set it up so that we have a little mini door camera
That's what I
that
was.
we can look and see how many people
Yeah.
are actually cycling through, because it's more than I think most people realize.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And I
Yeah, when
think,
I saw that in the report, I was surprised.
and I think with this show's numbers are gonna blow the show that is currently up, those numbers are gonna blow these numbers out of the.
It went offline
I
again?
think so. It just says something we having trouble.
Oh, there we go. Here's Peter. So yeah, I again, I think the art gallery is doing very, very well.
Great. Well, and we'll hear a little bit more once you all connect with the Friends, and we know there are a lot of events that are going on, and we'll see if they're able to join us on next meeting. Okay, great. So we're getting into new business. We've got one that was, I think, a holdover from last meeting. We didn't get to cover it in detail. Scott, you wanted to add the bulletin board policy again to new business.
So this is something I would love for the board to vote on tonight. This is a revision of a policy from 1998. It's more modernized. Actually, Nancy's head of circulation, Sharon, was a huge help in this. And this helps us kind of balance when we have space for the public where we can post their material, and kind of sets the expectation for members of the public to be able to, you know, we can't promise it'll be up the whole time. We can't promise that we even have room to put it up, and it also kind of lays out what we can and can't put up. This was reviewed by the town, and the town is absolutely fine with it. Always excited to write policy.
You can always point to it. Once it's approved, it's there in written form.
It's good to have good policy. It's important. Questions?
Scott, once this is voted on, will the policy be put on the bulletin board?
Yes.
Great.
So it'll be posted, it'll be put on.
It just makes sense, right?
It'll be put on our website.
I
like-
knew you
it's
were
like
gonna
a-
say
yeah, it's a library
website,
joke.
so that was, yes, that
Yeah,
was.
it's a bulletin board joke.
Great.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the new bulletin board and handout policy?
I will.
So moved.
Would someone like to second that?
So second.
Peter will second. Would everyone like to approve the bulletin board policy?
Yes. Yes.
So approved.
Unanimous, it's passed. Sold. Thank
Good
you, Scott.
policy.
Happens
I like
here
it.
and it gets up there.
I'm gonna get a selfie with myself in front of the bulletin board
I-
with a bulletin board policy
That would
over
be
my shoulder.
Fantastic.
Come on, how cool is that?
Might
You can
be-
think of that in many
especially
dimensions, right?
Share it at library social media.
Oh, I like that.
May go
What's
viral.
the job of a trustee? It's to,
Yeah.
you know, control policy.
You can put
There
that
you
in
go. Okay, wonderful. We're gonna move on to, we have two items added to new business, and we'll open it up for any new additions. The first one is the town charter committee or revisions. I sent to everyone, here on the board, the proposed changes. Now, back in October, we did go through email a little bit, but we were also in the process of sourcing for a new director. So we waited until Scott came in. I wanted to spend some time with Scott to review this. I know Jan's taking a look at this as well. So the town charter, they revise it every 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. And so the committee meets, I think, monthly. Their next one is May 12th. So within the copy that I sent to everyone, I'd like to break that down to get everyone's thoughts. And with that consensus, we can submit that. So why don't we pull that up? Are there any questions about the process in general?
No, because they're doing all these committee meetings, right? And then they don't actually put it to vote until November, was it?
It's October or November.
Yeah.
It might be
November seemed like a
October.
long.
Correct, yeah. It's a long process. So the first one is the number of trustees. Now, currently within the charter is 6. And Scott, I know that you referenced through the Connecticut policy to 9. However, in the Connecticut bylaws, which I think is a different document, it says anywhere from 7 to, I think, 16.
What is that document name?
It's right here, the Connecticut bylaws. So it is Article 2, Section 2. Right here, Article 2.
Oh, you're talking about the ACL. Oh, what is it?
Right, so what does it say here? Okay, right here, elected trustees. The association shall have not less than 7 or more than 19 elected trustees.
We're not an association.
We're also not elected.
Yeah, and we're not an association library. What's the association? Connecticut General Statutes, or is
No,
that the
this is right.
ALCB? Oh, okay, that, yeah,
Yeah.
ACLB. I knew that.
It doesn't say association
It says-
or municipal.
You were there.
No.
So I think going back to a discussion really as a board is, I think for a few years, we have mentioned, oh, we need more trustees, we need more trustees. Okay, that sounds great. But what are we gonna do with more trustees? Do we really need 9? Or do we need an odd number that is going to help us when it comes to maybe a vote sort of bypass or a stalemate? So I think 9 is a nice idea, but do we want to make it from 6 to 7?
I for one think I think we should go to 7. Because of the political issue that if there is some sort of a tie vote, we really don't have a process to be able to break it. And 4-3 would work.
And you could do that. Correct, and you could do it with 9. But I guess the first question is, does the board, does the library need
The library is now closed.
9? Is
The
more better?
library
That would
is
increase the
still-
amount of trustees by 50%. Or is it really just one more seat that would do it?
I think it's so incredibly hard for us to get people to. be
That was
the
what
vote
that's
person.
what I was wondering.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult, you know, we get good candidates. But it's the fact that it's just the search, I think, is hard for us. And I think to do 9,
Well, that
Would be a
could also
stretch.
be with the number of years.
Reduce.
But,
well, there's,
but,
but I don't tell anybody
We're
that.
gonna get.
right, but I think 7 is
I
fine.
never.
Yeah.
tell
I
anybody.
think
Our,
that's-
our only concern is there is a statute that says it has to be, boards have to be in 3s.
Oh,
Oh,
Well,
really?
where does it
where
say
is
that?
So
is that under
That's
ACL?
in
Because it doesn't reference it in the bylaws I just went through.
I'm sorry, Scott, I didn't hear you. There is a statute that says what?
the board has to be done in 3s. So let me see if I
Is
can.
that a town?
3s,
Yeah,
A state statute? Oh,
369?
David, could you go up to the top
Right.
row?
well,
So, officers, so Article 3.
But that's officers, not trustees. the general
This is
president,
the,
vice
this is
president,
the
secretary.
ACLB, this isn't the town charter.
Yeah, it's not the town charter. This,
State.
So,
these are just the bylaws.
so you're not talking about ACLB, you're talking about Connecticut general statutes?
Yeah,
Well, I guess another question. Which do we go by and which do we have to go by?
Keep going up a little bit higher. Oh,
Three types of states.
Have we run any of this by corporate counsel?
not trying to be sarcastic, but I'm not sure if a town lawyer would even know library laws exist. So,
You're not being sarcastic, you're being realistic.
so let me reach. Well, this is it highlighted, which means I probably looked at it.
Let's state no less than 7 and more than 19, so if it was by 3, it'd be a bit.
Different
Oh.
number, 18.
How less than that? Well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
And I wonder if elected is also the same as appointed.
it's gotta be, because we as the
Yeah,
board vote on it.
and you know, association, you know, or municipal.
you guys don't want to be elected.
No,
No, but we as the board do. Do we actually vote on? Who we named? Do we as the board vote on who we named as the new trustees?
Yeah,
we vote and then we make the recommendation
Yeah.
to.
I guess we,
To select them.
the folks get a vote of yes, because we just get down to 1 and 7.
Is this specifically about association libraries?
I know, that's what I kept on saying.
now, well, here,
association.
I did, here, I'll Google this right now.
You like that?
Because there are, as we know, well, you, I don't know if you are on that, but well, at the conference, the ACLB, significant differences.
That first
No.
citation, the first one, law and legislation, home.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull up what let's see. This,
There's the.
so this is what I sent out to everyone, this link, the Association of Connecticut Library Boards.
Yeah. I have it here.
And this download here is that Word document. Now, that Word document we've had for a few years, the revision was in 2020.
Yeah, and that's given to every
Right.
board member. But that
That's,
has no legal authority. That's just an organization, association.
It's section 11-21.
For what?
Of
For
which
Connecticut
document?
general statute?
Yeah.
What does it say? I think that's what Scott.
Oh, you have that in the notes here.
It's,
Who did these? Give it a
the
second.
absence
There's
of
the
any
first comment is Scott, but what document is that, Jan? I mean, Nancy, Connecticut what?
Statutes, Connecticut state statutes,
The Connecticut statute what?
Connecticut state statutes,
General statute.
general statutes.
Actually,
CPA.ct.gov. Yeah, they're there. And then I just put in library, and then it came up,
Oh, you put it within the document?
but it's,
It actually says the code, it says like 11, section 11 dash 20.
chapter 190, section 1121. I found it. Yeah, libraries and museums, public libraries. And then section 1121, Board of Trustees. And it says right up there, divisible by 3.
Ah, well, there you go.
There we go.
Okay, well, that overrides any, yeah, you put that in, that's you. You put that in.
Yeah, I put that in there, but I couldn't find it on here.
You have a
And I
footnote right
post-
there for exactly what it is.
I needed to get up,
Yes.
run down the hallway.
Okay, well, that definitely supersedes ACLB, which is just, yeah. So it looks like it's gonna be 9.
Well,
Or
Six.
or,
Or 6.
or maintain at 6. So you know,
Or
one
maintain
thing
at
for the,
6.
for the board and the staff to consider is that with 9, that's a lot of people to manage, a lot of people to source and bring in.
Sure is.
And it makes these meetings a lot longer.
Yeah.
That's one aspect. But I think 9, like, that's a lot to maintain. You're increasing the amount of trustees by 50%.
I thought we were just talking about
Did you?
decreasing the time, so I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Maybe we
with
should
that.
focus on that.
That's where, I thought what we were, when we discussed, we were just talking
Whatever
You know,
about that.
I get the vote thing, though.
Yeah.
I think about the 4-3.
You know,
and that, but
And
9 is.
my intention of introducing this was not to, I don't have a strong opinion that we should increase the amount of trustees. I think the term is something we
It's
should
the
really
term.
focus on.
It's the term.
But because the trustees, all of us over the last few years, and, some are newer, some have been here longer, we've all worked really well together.
Considered we've hired 2 librarians since I've been on for 5
Yeah.
years. And it's gone smoothly, like in terms of,
Really?
and we've never had the whole,
Yes.
what?
If,
Well, the thing that's been talked about over the last.
We like you, what
years
could we
that
tell
I've
you, Scott?
yeah,
like having committees on the board, like you have a non-meeting committee, you have, various committees, and there really aren't
There are
enough
not.
to go around, so that you don't have to be on every committee.
That's true. It's a
How-
good point.
how-
and if we were a fundraising board, I would say we would need
It
9
would
or more.
absolutely be necessary.
Yeah,
For sure.
I agree. It would definitely add more time. There'd be more voices. We could have some, but even 9 is not enough to have meaningful committees necessarily. Like,
Well, I would say 9, you do 3-person committees. You would probably do a building committee. You would probably do policy and governance committee. And then you would probably do a finance committee. So then you'd have the people who handle board meetings and policy. Then you'd have a group of people who would do the oversee the financial stuff. And then buildings to oversee the building projects. So,
Your bylaws
Here's
have
one
the-
suggestion is, I know that Chris is not here. It might be helpful that we have Chris and all 6 of the trustees are able to really weigh in and vote on this.
Mhm.
I'd like to make a motion that we actually move this part of it and maybe the official vote to the June meeting.
Okay.
I think.
I agree.
Chris would wanna, weigh in on this.
He'd have an opinion for sure.
Yeah,
Does
Okay.
that work, still
This will
work
be
with
the
the
first time we
timing
don't all
for,
agree on
for the town charter, yes, it does.
Couple things though, just wanted, with regards to, if we do go up to 9 though, just one thing to discuss, just in case we need to make changes. And we do shorten it to 3 years. At that point, there could occur a situation where we need 9, and we need to, because right now it says up to 2 2 trustees. But if we're doing it on a 3-year cycle,
Versus 1.
be up to 3 at a time.
That's another really good consideration. That might further complicate it.
Yeah.
Increase the trustees, shorten the term.
It all goes back to though, is a mitigating factor of all this, that it is a term of 6 years. And
That's all whenever we've brought this up, that's what we've said. I agree
Yeah,
with you,
yeah.
Jen. We have talked about committees and we're so small and,
But,
but
we're
it
starting,
was it
we're
was-
starting committees though.
No, you're
We-
right,
we-
exactly. You started that this
Yeah.
year.
here's a thought, like if we had the 3, to Scott's point, the 3 different committees, you have, effectively, that's a rotating cast of 3,
Mhm.
more or less. 1 in, 1 out on each of those. That being the idea, the trustee on each of those, so you're recruiting for building, you're recruiting for policy, you're recruiting for finance. That might work, especially if it's 3 years, and
At different
it,
skills.
it could work. I still agree we should have Chris as part of this conversation.
Yeah.
But it is something that could work, and,
Okay,
yeah, there's something to keep in mind as well, as in terms of how we're appointing.
well, this is just your first discussion of this, really, so
Yeah,
there may be other things in here that you want to think about for over the next month as well.
so in the same paragraph is the term. So the current term is 6 years. What we penciled in is a 3-year commitment. What's everyone's thoughts on the length?
Absolutely.
I think 3 years is accurate. 3 years with the possibility of 2 consecutive.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like it.
Right,
is
but you have the
is
right
good
of.
way to go, yeah.
right.
Yeah, that one.
Peter, go ahead.
No, I was going to say 3 years with the possibility of a second term consecutive to the first.
Yeah. I did add in here, trustees may serve 2 consecutive terms to be approved by the Board of Trustees. I made that addition.
Yeah.
Question that you've got a board member that's been on there for 3 years and they are a real troublemaker. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, I mean,
I agree.
they're just, they're detrimental to the board. Well, they shouldn't be voted for the next consecutive term.
Right.
It should be up to the board consensus, say, yes, that trustee is helpful, they're willing to, they want to do another term or another consecutive 3 years, we approve.
Yeah. No, I think that
Yeah.
absolutely, I mean, you look at what's going on in the rest of the country, of course.
Sure.
To have that.
Yeah, okay. There's troublemakers out there.
Oh.
In Chicago.
You know.
The board
I
of
was
Chicago.
a public
just went
librarian.
through
I know all.
Yeah, it's really
Okay.
deadly. She just been over.
All right, a few other things that we can review, and then we'll also be revisiting this with Chris. Okay, folks, a few more things, then we can move to the next item here. There are a few other things within the powers and duties, just a few like amendments here, which make a lot of sense. Were there any questions here? I think it was well done. Thank you, Jan and Scott, for the red lines here. I think that was, pretty spot on. It actually condensed it a little bit.
And 6, I think, or 7, I think is very important because
Yes.
it really makes it seem like a board member or the board purchases the books.
Yeah.
And that opens us up to someone joining
Right. Yep,
the board to start saying, no, we're not gonna.
That's correct. Yeah,
So, thank you.
good
this
point.
is a great time.
Absolutely. I didn't even know that was. part of it.
Especially in today's climate. I mean, this is like a 10-year-old document. It's good to be able to update that. It makes a lot of sense.
And this goes hand in hand with divisional library developments.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep,
great.
good change.
So I'm surprised that.
And then in the last section is the private donations. We spent a lot of time talking about this. And number 2, the management of the funds. The language has been updated and has been redlined to make it very straightforward. And this language is something, we read it a few times and it was sort of confusing. You lost me at hello. It was just like, wait a minute, hold on. So we've updated this to add something that's just very straightforward in terms of what the principal can and cannot be used for, how the dividends are sent to the town as income, and make it very straightforward. This could be very helpful for the board, the management of our endowment, treasury, everything, our relationship with Board of Finance and the town. It just would make a lot of sense. Okay? All right, terrific. We'll bring this back on the agenda for next month. I'll also review with everyone to confirm they're all available. I'd really like for all 6, especially my last meeting, of course. I'd love all 6 of us to be here.
Really? I hadn't heard.
Yes, I know.
Their party.
I think you're supposed to be there in July for the
Pardon me?
handing over of the power. I think you're supposed to be there.
Oh.
We just lost the Wi-Fi.
Again?
If you need me here, I'll be here, Jen. She's looking up the bylaw.
No, I'm looking at the bylaws to see what kind of changes.
Okay, no, that's
might
fine.
need to
I'm
make
happy-
the
I'm happy to-
bylaws fit the
That's no problem.
charter.
Make sure.
Okay.
It should be a good thing.
All right, I do have one more item here on new business and then I'll open it up to everyone. So trustee seats, so with my term ending, a new seat is opening up. We're going to need a steering committee and an effort to source, interview, and present candidates to the board. The way we've done this before is we've asked friends locally. And we've also, last year, we advertised this in the newsletter and the website. So I really encourage us to follow what we did last year. That generated a lot of interest. That was very well done. One thing that we could also include with this job description is, I believe that we may be looking for someone that has finance background that could potentially be the next treasurer or help manage the endowment. So that I think could really be a good sort of change to the job description, which would be very helpful. So with regards to this effort, would anyone like to volunteer to help start that process? I think collectively we'd be leading it. It doesn't have to be just one person who's leading the whole thing. Would anyone like to be part of that process? I will be part of the process.
I'll be glad to be part of the process.
I think you did, Christina.
Volunteered already. You want me to
You're hired.
volunteer again?
You're hired. Okay, Christina, David, and Peter will lead that process to source, and then Peter, or I mean, excuse me, Scott and Jan and Nancy will review with you an updated job description, and then we'll figure out the posting within one of the upcoming newsletters. I believe in June, we're gonna want to vote on that candidate. So we've got some work cut out, but I also remember that it went pretty quickly in terms of, as soon as it was advertised, we got a flurry of candidates. We do have within our Google Drive, we've got a folder dedicated to candidates, the process, questions. We have some that we've interviewed before. And one thing we should consider is we've interviewed a few candidates multiple times. So I wouldn't want to set them up for disappointment because what, we're going to interview them the third time and then they don't get appointed. So that's something I think to consider.
Do any of our past candidates have that finance background?
I don't think so. The communications people. with
Yeah, one communications, one is school, education. I don't think there was finance. I can look.
Okay, because that's,
I am also, going to be presenting to the Chamber of Commerce Board
Okay.
next
Hubba
week,
hubba.
so we
yes.
have that, we have that audience that would
That's-
definitely bring this up.
All right, so I'll get
that's
moving
great.
on, I can start that document and send it out to you, Christina and Peter. We can do it even as of like tomorrow. I'll send it out like this week. And then agree on it, and then we can get it
good.
to Scott. That would be great. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, that's great.
Is that with Mark and his team, Mark Barnhart?
No, that's with Beverly,
That's the
Okay.
Chamber of Commerce.
yeah, Chamber.
The chamber, not
He
economic,
works, yeah, he works
economic
with them
development.
probably
Okay,
from time to time.
Yeah, she does,
okay,
yeah, but
great. Well, thank you very much for helping out with that committee. So in addition to that effort is the slate. They call it the slate. So it's the voting on the executive positions. And I did look at the bylaws. Jan, do you recall that once the vote goes for those positions, it's a 2-year, isn't it? Or is it every year? We revisit that every year? I feel like
We
we've revisited.
revisit it every year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Voted on it last year, right?
We do vote on it every year. So it says right here,
But
officers.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do it then.
Officer, oh, but this is also
This
with
is also-
ACLB. This is
It's
not coming.
ACLB.
Says that,
See?
this is from your bylaws, the
Yeah.
nominating committee, heretofore shall present the names of its nominees for the offices of chairman, treasurer, and secretary at the June meeting of the board each year.
Yeah.
Each year, okay.
So, but our own
Terrific.
class. Okay.
So we're gonna be, voting on or presenting to the board, chair role, secretary, and treasurer. And I talked with every one of the trustees about all these positions. Thanks so much for your time, really appreciate it. Talk, about the chair role. I think Andrew is interested. I know Jill, you've got school that's
Too much.
conflict. Christina, you've got too much library in your life. I've talked with too much library.
And library.
It's not a bad
I
thing.
become a library and church lady. So, and I'm with the deacon.
Oh, wow, that's a great
And
one.
she had a
Wow.
church.
Oh, that's-
I'm
I love
excited,
that.
an
You're the-
exciting one.
Did you
The
just
library,
say-
I'm the library and church lady. Yeah,
That's an
deacon.
SNL skit.
I know.
That's so funny. That is so
Great, great stereotype, so.
That's a stereotype skit. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Is it
Um,
really?
That is so cool. Cool. Excellent. Okay. And I know I've talked with, Peter, I've talked with Chris. In terms of secretary, Christina, I believe that you're interested also in continuing that?
I am interested
Okay.
unless somebody else is
Okay.
really
Yes, if anyone
enthusiastic.
else is very passionate about being secretary, please contact me.
My term, and I will be going off at next.
Are you 2023?
Yeah.
Okay.
if he was next up, then it's Chris.
And then the last position is treasurer. So I think, Chris is winding his second year down. He is interested in finding a new candidate for that. So I
So-
don't think that there's anyone in the current board that is interested in being treasurer. That's why we really need to,
Yeah.
you know,
Find the
shape
skills.
the job description and source for someone with that
Bring
background.
that a Dunkin'.
We can do it.
it.
There are folks
Ask
out
them for
there that
another
have that
six
experience.
further.
That was the other thing too, that's also gonna be in the, revision is somebody coming back again, like it has to be a year or
1
something.
year separation.
Yeah, that was it. In the charter, I wasn't sure if that was in there, I thought I remember
Yeah.
seeing that.
Yeah, I think there was no.
Go back for change that.
Yes, absolutely.
It's 3 years now, Tony.
I keep joking with him every time I see him. I'm like,
I know, I saw him too.
God knows
Keep that on fire.
Okay, so that was it for that item. Is there any other new business? Any other items that anyone wants to introduce? Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion
I'll move.
to end
Adjourn the meeting.
to adjourn? Andrew is raising his hand. Would someone like to second that motion?
Second,
Here, second. And would everyone like to approve that? All right, it's unanimous. Lori, we're recording at 8:22 PM.